I have a problem. Everything on my news feed, a good portion of it, I can't say everything, that's not being fair. A lot of it has to do with politics, division amongst how this country should be ran. And so basically I feel like you're kind of forced to choose a side, whether you want to go left or right. If you go damned if you do one way, damned if you don't the other way. It's a scary time, and I feel like with what's going on, we have lost sight of something as far as what common decency amongst human beings are. Maybe it's just me, and I know there's good people out there, but I feel like a lot of us have lost track of that. I feel like we don't do for others as we used to, and I'm trying to do what I can from my point of view to try to help veer us back onto the road, being civil with one another. The art of civil discourse has seemed to disappear on major spectrums. In a sinister way, I can see where that's beneficial. Where I do stand firm. If you believe in something, you have to speak up about it. Ability to listen and receive input should be met with civil discourse. The other day, I went and hung out with a remarkable human being by the name of Caleb Hammonds. And I've known of him for probably the last 2-3 years, to be honest with you, but I never really got a chance to know him. And then one day, a colleague of mine posted up this news article a few months ago about his charitable works that he does on a daily basis. And I convinced them to let me go for a ride-in with one of his generous acts. I want you to listen to his schedule. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. He'll go to Repeat Street, Fresh Start volunteer truck picking up on donations. So he'll go pick up furniture from people who don't want it, and if it's salvageable, they'll bring it back to the warehouse and sell it like a thrift store kind of thing. But I believe, and you may want to talk to Chris Parker. Chris Parker was in on the ride around as well as a representative for Repeat Street.
So I've been volunteering with Fresh Start for about 3 years now, and Fresh Start is supported. One of our big ways that we support is through our thrift store, Repeat Street. And one of the things we do, rain, sleet, or snow, we go out and pick up donations from condos and people in the area, then we resell it at our thrift store, Repeat Street. And so that's how we're able to house homeless families here in Fort Walton Beach.
So it wasn't until recently that Caleb started getting shine for his generous acts. It doesn't take long from that, I know, before you start getting noticed for these things, especially around here. Fort Walton is typically a small town, and by coincidence, when I was trying to me and him were trying to figure out a time for me to ride around with, Northwest Florida Daily newspaper went ahead and got a hold of him and did a article on him, so you can look into that to see what they wrote. But I do want to share a passage off of that article that really touched my heart. So again, this is from the Northwest Florida Daily News, and it states, Hammonds got the idea to start helping others in 2013 when he was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he said, at first it was because I was in a hard place myself. I was trying to find out my purpose. He said, from there I kind of thought, if I can get out of the place I was in, I could help somebody else in that place. So basically that is the sole definition of paying it forward. It is January 31st, 2019. Tomorrow starts February, which is the month of love, Valentine's Day, and Black History Month. Caleb is a young black male in the area who is symbolically doing for others strictly because he feels like it's the right thing to do. From somebody who's been in that similar situation. If that's not the definition of selfishness, and I don't know what is. Going to school for what again?
Project management.
And it's for development of your charity event, right?
Yeah, charity, clothing line, music, just trying to manage multiple projects pretty much.
How old are you, Caleb?
28.
Your clothing line, do you have a website?
I do.
What's your website, man?
AgapeLifeBrand.com. As far as the homeless, I think just me being in my place and kind of seeing a dude on the side of the street asking for stuff, it's like he probably feel worse than I feel, you know what I'm saying? So then it's like, hey, here's a couple dollars. And then from there, it just grew. Like I started thinking of different ways to help and broaden who I help, not just homeless people. A lot of people need help, not just homeless people. So eventually just getting on Google, find out different ways, different charities. That's how I got into like the charity community.
And what are the other of charitable things that you're doing throughout the week? So you got this.
Got Special Olympics, One Hopeful Place.
What's One Hopeful Place?
It's a shelter for men. It's like Fresh Start, Opportunity Place. Most of these charities, they're for like women and families. So there's nowhere to go for men. One Hopeful Place opened, I think, 2015, and it's just for men. So yeah, it's a shelter for men. It's a pretty cool place too.
That's my dad.
For real?
How crazy is that? Any final words, man? Because he's got to go to class.
Just follow us on Instagram at Learn Agape Life. Yeah, from there I have links to my clothing line and all that. That's another way to help out. Portions of my clothing line, 10% goes to the charity too, but it's also Agape Life means love, of course.
Tell them how you got to that, how you came up with Agape Life.
I was looking up for names that meant love, like in Google, and I found Agape, and then from playing basketball, I know you heard of Ball is Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, I just put it together. Agape Life, Ball is Life, Agape Life. So that's how I came up with the name. Just one word, Agape Life.
So what social handles do you got?
Learn Agape Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram.
You on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, I know you're on YouTube. I've seen you.
Yeah, and on YouTube. All Learn Agape Life.
Make sure you're like videotaping some of this stuff, man. Like seriously, because I think you'll get more attention, which will bring you like more contributions for your cause.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's the next step. Get a camera.
Well, man, thank you for letting me be a part of this today.
Yeah, no problem.
And definitely will I'll tag in with you. Like now that I know what your schedule is, I'll call you soon and see if we can schedule stuff up. Okay.
I bet.
Oh man, thank you so much, sir. Now I'm not expecting everybody to go and clear out their schedules and give the kind of commitment that Caleb has in his life to help others. Let's be real honest. Everybody, people have got different things going on in their life. But if we could randomly do random acts of kindness without anybody knowing, and you set that precedent, because I feel like the problem is when you announce that you have done some sort of charitable act for somebody else, you take away that person's dignity and pride for your own vanity. If you're doing it for a business, I understand that, but it doesn't have to necessarily be announced. So, like, whether it's something like paying somebody's toll behind you, paying for the coffee and at Starbucks from the person behind you, picking up a random piece of paper and just random things like that you know is considerate, then you pat yourself on the back and feel good in here that you did that. There are charitable events all over town of Fort Walton. And I encourage you to look at, if this goes beyond my own hometown, please look into your town's own charitable causes. You could probably call up the local Chamber of Commerce if you have no idea where to begin. But for here in Fort Walton, in Okaloosa County, this is what I know. Children in crisis, that's people who like abused children or abandoned children. They normally go here. The Boys and Girls Club, we have that in here. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Repeat Street. Repeat Street needs young, vibrant people, men. They need strong backs to help them with moving furniture as well. You can go in there for like an hour a day and do your part. Yeah, remember, it's not always about you or myself. It's other people out there that need some help. At a red light, I got 1 second. I'm heading out to my niece Kendall, the one I picked up from New York, to her school to go have lunch with her. Bought some to go, some fast food. I need coffee. I had to rush out this morning. I was late actually meeting up with Caleb and Chris by like 10 minutes. So I didn't have a chance to have my coffee, so I'm gonna stop into Starbucks real quick, grab my coffee, then head over to the elementary school.